way, there is a ball game to be played this afternoon. Another former Tiger has made his way to Comerica Park. Steve Sparks, not necessarily with as much history as those gentlemen, but the Tigers are happy to see him back because of the person he is, and yet they'll try to beat him this afternoon. We'll talk more about the pitching matchup when we come right back.
MLS is back.
Terrific crowds all weekend long and really all season long as Detroit is catching on to the improvements that the Tigers have made this season. They will go for their 4th straight win here this afternoon after that little bit of a lull, and they'll try to finish off a sweep against the Arizona Diamondbacks. And even though he's pitching for the other guys, Steve Sparks is considered to be only one of the better people on the planet. We take delight in some of his recent good fortune. The former Tiger is in a 4-start stretch in which his ERA is just 1.73. 10 days ago, he beat the vaunted Yankees 6-1. The best year of his career was here in Detroit in 2001 when Sparky went 14-9 with that 3.65 earned run average and an American League leading 8 complete games. But he struggled the next year, was pitching mostly out of the bullpen last year prior to his release on August 27th. On the day of his release, there was a palpable pall over the ballpark. That's how well regarded he is as a teammate. His close friend Mike Maroth starts against the D-backs, and he loves pitching at home. Maroth is 3-0, allowing just a shade over 2 runs per 9 innings here at Comerica. Last year's lousy luck is like a dog on his leg. Get off. He's just 1-4 in his last 7 starts, but his ERA in that span, just 3.5, which is plenty good enough in most instances. Mike Maroth trying to handcuff the Arizona Diamondbacks here in the series finale this afternoon. The Tigers with that dramatic 7-6 9th inning walk-off home run win over the Diamondbacks here last night. Eric Munson hit it as far as anyone has ever hit a ball at Comerica Park. It was against the reliever Brandon Villafuerte, another former Tiger. This one traveled 457 feet into a place where our cameras are. Now, here is the view that the cameraman saw right there when the ball landed right into the camera well, and one of our colleagues, Tom Hughes, having had the daylight scared out of him, is holding on to the ball that Eric Munson hit. No one has hit a ball further than Eric Munson did last night, and in dramatic fashion, the Tigers mobbed Munson at home plate, celebrating a 7-6 win, and that's the kind of good fortune that they are trying to continue here this afternoon. Perhaps helped a bit by the magic left by ghosts of the past. From 20 years ago, the 1984 Tigers have been honored. The 2004 Tigers will try to follow up those ceremonies with a dramatic win over Arizona here this afternoon. It was a terrific time in our baseball past. Baseball success that, as we look back upon it, was positively presidential.
All I can say is, bless you boys.
I was tired of dial-up.
But the Diamondbacks bit back and took control until the Tigers put together a comeback typical of this year's exciting team. Omar Infante tied it up in the 7th, and someone who wasn't even supposed to be in the starting lineup sent the fans home happy. High fly ball hit in the air to deep center field. Finley back to the track, to the wall. That ball is gone, and the Tigers won it 7-6. Well, there is no party quite like a walk-off party, and last night Eric Munson sparked the celebration with a majestic 9th inning home run, and today the Tigers go for the sweep from Comerica Park. It's the Tigers and the Diamondbacks. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Comerica Park, and welcome to the finale in this 3-game series between the Tigers and the Diamondbacks. Mario and Pemba alongside Rod Allen. Glad to have you with us for Tigers baseball. And I don't know about you guys at home, but us up here in the booth, we're still talking about that home run from Eric Munson last night. For a guy, Rod, that has really been struggling this year, it was great to see him finally come through in the clutch, and what a home run. That's got to be the greatest feeling.
You know, as I told him last night, I really admire his work ethic. Anytime you're going through a very difficult time and you're not getting the kind of reps that you'd like to get on the field, It's very, very hard sometimes to come and keep that positive attitude, but he has done that, and he rewarded himself last night, and he also rewarded the team with the longest home run in Comerica Park history. We've seen a lot of balls go to straightaway center field this year, only to be caught at the warning track. But when Steve Finley turned and watched this bad boy fly away, I had to scream. It was amazing, and that's a welcome sight, and that's fun to see a team start to gel and play the way they played as of late.
We have always talked about how funny baseball can be. Now, Brandon Inge was to start in the ball game last night. He hurt his finger, in fact, broke it on Friday night. Munson gets the chance, but now Inge is out.
Well, Munson was the starting third baseman at the beginning of the season. There's no doubt that they can recover from an injury like this. They lost Dimitri Young for a couple of months. They were able to piece it together. No doubt Inge is on the disabled list now. They can piece it together once again.
Well, Mike DeFelice has been called up from AAA Toledo. You see his numbers down at AAA. He'll be in the starting lineup today and do the catching as Pudge Rodriguez gets the day off behind the plate today. Should be a fun day here at the ballpark as we celebrate the 1984 World Champs. That celebration has gone on all weekend, and we'll have a couple of Tigers in the booth with us here today. A lot of power in this series for the Tigers. They hit 3 homers in the ball game yesterday. Tigers and D-backs coming up next. Ball in downtown Detroit. Welcome back to Comerica Park. A large crowd on hand here this afternoon, getting ready for the Diamondbacks and the Tigers, and a special weekend as well here at the ballpark as we honor the 1984 World Champion Detroit Tigers. Let's check out the Diamondbacks starting lineup. Scott Hairston is in there in the leadoff slot. Had a big game yesterday with 3 hits against the Tigers. Steve Finley will bat second in center field. Bautista is in right. A middle 3 of Luis Gonzalez in left. Shea Hillenbrand at first. Greg Colburn is the DH. Tim Olson, the shortstop. Juan Brito is catching, and Andy Green will get the start at third base and bat ninth, as Mike Maroth is in our pitching report today for the Tigers.
You know, Mike has done an outstanding job this year against left-handed batters. They're hitting only .213 against him. Right-handers, however, hitting .303 against the left-hander, and he's pitched very, very well here at Comerica Park. 3-0 with a .229 earned run average, and get the sweep. That's exactly what's on Alan Trammell's mind as the '84 Tigers were being honored on the field. That's exactly what he said. He wanted to get a sweep.
Well, let's see how the Tigers line him up defensively in this one. Mike DeFelice is in there, just called up from AAA Toledo. He'll do the catching today for the Tigers. Munson and Guillen on the left side of the infield. It'll be Infante and Pena on the right side. White, Monroe, and Higginson in the outfield. DeFelice and Maroth, your battery, and our Rico Tigers defense. And here we go today. It's a strike called on Scott Hairston to open this one up. 73 at game time. 73 degrees, clear skies. It is a gorgeous day in Detroit. Hairston with 3 hits in the series, 3 out of 6. In fact, he's reached base in 30 of his last 35. Trying to lead it off for the Diamondbacks. Lifted in the air to center field. Craig Monroe is camping under it. 1 up and 1 away. Monroe is out there in center for Sanchez, who is not playing today. Mike Maroth and his numbers this season.
Trying to get over that 500 mark today is Maroth, checking in at 5-5. Very respectable earned run average. Just 28 walks in 95 innings pitched. That's not a bad ratio. Almost 3-1.
That'll bring up Steve Finley with 1 out. Finley showing bunt. And a strike is called by Dale Scott. Just about at the 300 mark this year for Finley. It's been a great season. Plenty of power. He strokes this one into left center, a base hit.
That's one of the reasons why Steve Finley's hitting for a very high batting average this year, is he's taking the ball the other way. Finley has been known as a dead pull hitter, but when you start spraying the ball all over the place, you'll have a high batting average.
Diamondbacks have their first base runner, and Mike Maroth now will face Danny Bautista with 1 on and 1 out. Bautista had 2 hits in the ball game last night and had a great month of April. 0-1 on Bautista. He was a player of the week in April, and basically because of his 21-game hitting streak. And Maroth gets him out in front 0-2 with that off-speed pitch.
That will be a good pitch for Mike all afternoon long. Change up grip. You see the 4 fingers on it. You throw it less like a fastball, but because you hold it with 4 fingers, decreases the velocity as it approaches home plate. He'll need that against the right-handers today.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Of course, Mike DeFelice joining the ball club today, and he hasn't really worked with any of the current Tigers since spring training this year. With Brandon Inge going on the disabled list, the Tigers needed the backup catcher. DeFelice is called up.
One thing DeFelice has been known as, and that's a very good defensive catcher. He's never really been a starter at the major league level.
No, but plenty of big league experience, though.
Good for him. Initially turned down the Tigers to report to Toledo AAA when they released him in spring training. He wanted to see what other opportunities were out there. Decided to report to Toledo, and now he finds himself in the big leagues again.
Here's the Tigers roster move that we touched on at the open here today. Brandon Inge on the disabled list. DeFelice called up, and for Brandon, hopefully that will not slow down the momentum that he had built this year. A fractured finger, hopefully no more than a couple of weeks for Brandon. Little tapper hit slowly towards short. Guillen with a shovel toss to second, and the relay not in time. Not a tailor-made double play. Wasn't hit all that hard. Bautista beats it out.
Anytime you take a swing as a right-hander and you have to reach for a ball like that, your momentum's already helping you run down the line, and Bautista has decent speed.
2 out now for the Diamondbacks with Bautista aboard, and here is the number 4 hitter, Luis Gonzalez, who is mired right now in a 2 for 14 slump, if you can call it a slump. Gonzalez, of course, had the triple on the first game of the series on Friday night, the only hit that the Diamondbacks had in that game. He also walked later as well. He was their only base runner that night. Bautista can steal one every now and then. He has 3 this season. Danny, the former Tiger. Quite a few former Tigers on this Diamondbacks team. 2-0. Well, the Tigers, with their win last night, get to 500 at home, which is something that they had been shooting for. Gonzalez hasn't seen a whole lot to hit early on in his first at bat. Tigers, for the most part, have done a pretty good job of pitching around Gonzalez. They've walked him intentionally a couple of times in this series, and we've talked about the fact that Richie Sexson is out of their lineup, and that hurts. There is ball 4. Gonzalez aboard with a 2-out walk. So an early jam now for Mike Maroth. That'll bring up Shea Hillenbrand. Well, Mike Maroth has pitched well enough in his last 3 starts, actually 4 if you go back even farther, to get victories. He has lost his last 2, despite giving up only 3 earned runs in his last 2 starts. But he has been steady all season long. Really hasn't had too many starts in which he's been knocked around the yard, and has been very consistent. And now DeFelice will call time as Maroth has had trouble finding the strike zone. 2-0. Bob Cluck keeping Maroth under his watchful eye, and Bob has to be happy with the job his starters have done here in the month of June. As we wind down the month, their starting pitching has kept the Tigers in and night out. That's hit foul down the third base line. 2-1 now on Hillenbrand. He has hit safely in 10 of his last 13, but only 3 hits in his last 20 at bats. He has been slumping a bit. On the ground to third, deep behind the bag is Munson. He'll win the race to the bag to close out the side. So Maroth pitches through a mini jam in the first. Here come the Tigers in the bottom half. Gave up a walk and a hit in the top of the first inning, but no damage done. And Bob Cluck chatting with the Tigers starter here today. We'll check out the Tigers starting lineup, brought to you by Gardner White Furniture. A couple of changes today. Eric Munson, no change there. He's back in the lineup after that mammoth game winner last night. Omar Infante leads it off at second base. He's followed by Higginson in right, Guillen the shortstop, a middle three of Young, White, and Pena, and a bottom three of Monroe, Munson, and DeFelice. What a night for Eric last night all the way around. Steve Sparks on the hill for the Diamondbacks, and Infante looks at a knuckleball up high, 1-0. Omar 1 for 3 in the ball game last night with a home run. And another knuckler. This one drops in. 1 ball and 1 strike.
One thing about the knuckleball, you must see the ball elevated before you decide to swing. If it's elevated, more often than not, it's going to come back down into the strike zone. If it's low, it's going to be out of the strike zone. Another approach that you want to have against a guy like Sparks, who's not going to throw you a lot of fastballs, is you don't want to try to do too much against him. Take him up the middle, take him the other way.
Now, last night, Sanchez hurt himself, and that means Infante is leading off today.
You know, I talked to Alex before the game, and he said that his hamstring is just what they said it was last night, a mild right hamstring strain. He doesn't expect to be out very long.
Well, that's good news, although you have to be very careful with those hamstrings and make sure you're 100% before you get back. In the meantime, Infante getting a chance to lead off today. Lifts this one in the air to shallow right, slicing away and landing fair. It's a base hit. Infante is aboard, a leadoff single for the Tigers. And we'll check out the pitching report now on Steve Sparks, brought to you by Pepsi.
Knucklehead, of course, he throws the knuckleball, and that's what he'll throw 75–80% of his pitches, in a former Tiger, of course. Learning the National League, 2.51 earned run average this month after scuffling in the month of May, and it was a good sight to see Steve back at Comerica Park.
Very well respected, very well liked, a great teammate, and now working in Arizona with the Diamondbacks. Bobby Higginson batting with the leadoff man on.
You know, I'm wondering which approach the switch hitters will take against Steve Sparks. I'm talking about Carlos Guillen in the on-deck circle, and also Dimitri Young. A lot of times guys that are switch hitters and hit from the left side against the right-handers, they'll hit right-handed against the right-hander instead.
Yeah, you'll see that a lot of times where they want to stay with their strong side. And the knuckleball pitcher also provides a challenge for more than just the hitters, for the catcher as well. A lot of catchers will tell you can't go out and stab at the ball. You have to wait for it to come to you.
Tigers can be active on the base paths today. A lot of times you can get a great jump off of a knuckleballer. And then again, you talked about another problem that it presents when you're catching. You have to stab at so many balls, and you have that big glove. And a lot of times it's difficult to get the ball out of the big glove. Brito has a catcher's glove that looks like a first baseman's mitt.
Runner goes, and it's fouled back out of play.
It's a good count to run on, 2-1, or the hit and run, if that's exactly what it was. It appeared to be. Bob Brenly of the Arizona Diamondbacks loves to pitch out. Did it 47 times last year. He's already done it once in this series. But when the count's 2-1, very, very difficult for him to pitch out. Allen knew that, put the hit and run on.
Runner goes again. Well, the challenges are also there for the umpires as well, especially the home plate umpire, because as a home plate ump with the knuckleballer, you've got to really be patient, let the ball come all the way in before you make your call because of so much movement. Dale Scott has that job this afternoon behind the plate. This time they'll throw back.
If you're Steve Sparks, you could be tempted here to throw a fastball knowing that Omar wants to get down to second base. But if you do that, then you're playing into Bobby Higginson's hands. So it's a very, very tough situation for him very early.
That's in the air to center field. Finley is under it. And Infante will retreat one away. bring up Carlos Guillen now. And Steve Sparks has really been pitching very well for this Diamondbacks team.
And just as we suspected, it looks like Carlos Guillen is going to bat right-handed against a right-handed knuckleballer.
Home run in the ball game last night for Guillen.
A lot of times why a guy like Dimitri and Guillen will bat right-handed against Steve Sparks is that left-handed, you tend to try to do too much if you're on that left side of the plate, which would be one of your stronger sides against a right-handed pitcher.
Well, we talked about the fact that Sparks has pitched well this year, and here's a look at his numbers. The ERA is high, but of late he's pitched some pretty good baseball, and he's had really only one bad outing this year. He gave up 10 runs in a start against the Florida Marlins. And that basically took care of his earned run average. Pitch out, and there he goes. Throw down to second. The tag is in plenty of time, and Infante is cut down on the throw by the catcher Juan Brito.
And nice call by Bob Brindley. He loves to do it. He finds himself in a situation to pitch out. And just a nice firm throw by Brito right on the bag. Oh, nothing Omar could do. What kind of slide was that?
Not a good one. Not a smooth one. Tried to avoid the tag. There's a big rip by Guillen.
I expect it to be a game of cat and mouse all afternoon between Trammell and also Bob Brindley on the other side.
Knuckler dips inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sparks gave up just 1 run in 7 innings in his last start at San Diego, and the same the start before that against the Yankees. That's hit hard into left center field. Finley is on the run. Won't get to this one. One hop off the wall. On his way to second is Guillen. He'll take the turn and hold up with a double. 2 out, 2-base hit for Carlos Guillen.
It's a nice job by Carlos. Finally got himself in a nice hitter's count. He got a ball up in the strike zone, and batting right-handed against a right-handed knuckleballer Sparks keeps that right shoulder in long time. As you can see it, the shoulder stayed there, and that's why he's batting right-handed. Much better swings against the knuckleballer.
So Carlos now starting to turn it on offensively after a bit of a slump. It'll bring up Dimitri Young with a chance to get a 2-out RBI. .254 hitter is Dimitri. 1 for 4 with a double in the ball game last night and a run driven in. Off the end of the bat to the right side of the infield. Hairston is there, and that'll take care of the side. So the Tigers will strand a man. Colbrin, Olson, Brito coming up.
You're watching Fox Sports Net.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Pepsi. It's the Cola. Aflac, ask about it at work. And by Gardner White Furniture. We're known by the money you keep. Bless you boys. That has certainly been the theme here this weekend at Comerica Park as we celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Tigers '84 championship team. And a great ceremony before the game today in which my partner was a part of. And Rod, it had to be a whole lot of fun sitting down there with the old teammates.
You know,
reminiscing.
You know, it is so special to be recognized as a champion. You know, and I only spent a couple of months on that '84 team, boy, but the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan, boy, they've shown me a lot of love.
And deservedly so. As Greg Colbrin leads it off. Colbrin, Olson, and then Brito facing Mike Moroff. Pena down the first base line, has room and makes the play. And 1 out. Well, I know we're going to get a chance hopefully to talk to Guillermo Hernandez. He's decided to come up with us. Tom Brookins as well. We talked to a couple of other your former teammates yesterday in the ball game. But just to see the reaction of the crowd here today, Rod, was something special as well. There's a huge crowd, and they really still remember that time, a special time.
Absolutely. It was a special team. It's one of the best teams in baseball history. Anytime you go wire to wire, I mean, first place from day one until the end of the season, that's going to be very, very special and very fond memories.
And there's our man, Rod Allen, who was introduced before the ball game today, along with the other 84 Tigers. The 0-1. 1 ball and 1 strike on Olson.
What a great summer that was.
Tigers got out of the chute quickly and slowed down a little bit, but led it wire to wire, and something certainly the fans will never forget. 2-1 on Olson. And Maroth has scuffled a bit with his command early on in this one. He walked a batter in the first inning. Swung on and missed, and way out in front was Olson.
He's thrown a couple of really good changeups already today to the right-handed batters. And this is the pitch that you need when you fall behind right-handed hitters and you don't have an overpowering fastball. You can't throw it by him. You've got to pull the string, keep him off balance.
That's hit to third. It handcuffs Munson. Eric stays with it. 2 gone. Munson back in there at third today, and with the injury to Brandon Inge, you'll more than likely see Eric out there at third just about on a daily basis now. There's Brandon. He'll be gone a couple of weeks with that fractured finger.
It's unfortunate. Brandon was really having a terrific season.
Yeah, and hopefully it won't slow him down when he gets back, because a lot of times when you're on a roll, the last thing you want to do is sit out for a couple of weeks. Here's Brito, the catcher. 1 ball, 1 strike now on Juan Brito. Lifted in the air, right side. Pena waiting, and they go in order. It's a bell tire 1-2-3 inning for Mike Maroth. Rondell White will lead it off in the second. Tigers hitting in the bottom of the second now at Comerica Park. And later today, don't forget to catch the Shock, the WNBA champion Detroit Shock, right here on Fox Sports Net. See Swin Cash, Ruth Riley, and the rest of Bill Lambier's squad as they host the Connecticut Sun Shock basketball. It's today at 6 p.m. right here on Fox Sports Net, the only sports network where Detroit fans come first. Rondell White leads it off for the Tigers. White, Pena, and then Monroe facing Sparks. Got to get Rondell's bat going now. He's down to 283 and hitless in his last 11 at bats. That's popped up. Green, the third baseman. You will see this afternoon a lot of jumpy swings, I guess is the best way to put it. Guys are going to have to fight themselves to be patient and wait back on that knuckleball. And anytime you have a knuckler on the mound, you don't see one in quite a while, it's hard to adjust.
It's almost like you have to look for something soft off speed. You have to see what the ratio of speed is that he's throwing his knuckleball, and you really just have to pick one out, and you have to see it high and take a good swing at it. Very, very difficult to hit a knuckleball, especially one that dances the way that Sparks' knuckleball dances from time to time. If it's down in the strike zone, more often than not, it's going to be a ball.
Line to center field. That's a base hit. So Pena with a nice job has a 1-out single.
You know, Carlos did exactly what you were talking about, Mario. He timed this ball perfectly. He's going to take his initial step, then stop, keeps the hands back, still able to generate some bat speed. You can still hit the ball hard somewhere, even though the body's already left you, if the hands stay back.
Good job by Pena. And the Tigers already now have their third hit of the game. And here's Craig Monroe. No balls and 1 strike on Monroe.
I really wouldn't put it past any of the Tigers to get on base today. Not running. Anytime you get a knuckleball out there, you have to exploit that weakness that most of the pitches that he's throwing are 70 miles an hour.
There are some things, I suppose, that a knuckleball pitcher can do and utilize the slide step a little bit more to get the ball quicker to home plate. And I know Sparks has done that in the past, but there's only so much you can do to rush your delivery to get it to the plate as quickly as possible.
You know, you brought up a terrific point at the beginning of the telecast when you talked about catchers stabbing at the ball. So many times you will get that catcher stabbing at that knuckleball, and just by him taking that extra time to gather himself and get the footwork together, you can get a couple of extra steps.
Well, 2 away now on the strikeout of Monroe, and that'll bring up Eric Munson. 9 home runs, and number 9 should have counted for 2 with the distance it went. 457 feet last night, the walk-off home run, and the longest in Comerica Park history. And here's another look in case you missed it.
I don't know how Villafuerte was holding that one, but it went a long way. Well, when you give them up like that, boy, as a pitcher, you just want to turn around and admire it yourself.
Tom Hughes, our center field cameraman, came away with a souvenir. It frightened him as it landed just to his right. There's Tommy.
It frightened me as well.
But he got himself a souvenir out of it.
Man, was that a big fly. That was huge. Huge.
You know, Tom, before the game today, wanted to give the ball back to Eric Munson just as a souvenir for Eric. And Eric said, you know what? Thanks very much for offering, but you keep it. And he let Tom keep the baseball, which I thought was kind of neat.
Probably signed it for him, too.
He did indeed. 2 balls and 1 strike now on Eric Munson. Well, we saw Chipper Jones here earlier in interleague play. Hit a couple of long home runs to left center. That's hit on the ground to the right side under the glove of Hairston. Pena will head to third base, and he is in standing up. The Tigers have something going now with 2 outs. Jones hit a couple that up until last night were the longest home runs hit here at Comerica Park, but it now belongs to a Tiger. That feat, Eric Munson with his homer last night. Well, here's an opportunity now for Mike DeFelice. These are his numbers at Toledo. His first action in a Tigers uniform this year was in spring camp with the Tigers. First pitch swinging, drills it to left, and a base hit. Pena will score, and the Tigers get a 2-out RBI hit from Mike DeFelice. It's 1-0.
You know, Mike, not really known for his offense. He has been a superb defender throughout his major league career, but he gets his first knuckleball up in the strike zone, and he just doesn't miss it. Nice, easy stroke. Big 2-out run.
And the Tigers now starting to pile up the hits. That is their 5th already in this game, and that'll bring up the top of the order Omar Infante. He singled and then was caught stealing back in the first inning. Infante sliding into the leadoff slot. The absence of Alex Sanchez. The Tigers hit 3 home runs last night. We talked about Munson's, but this was a big one as well. 7th inning home run of Scott Service. And that tied the ball game at 6 before the Tigers went on to win it. Two and one on Infante. Little looper into center field. It's dying. It'll drop in, a base hit. Rounding third is Munson. Here's the throw to the plate. Not in time. The Tigers get another run. An RBI single for Infante. He's 2 for 2.
You can already see the Tigers have got a terrific approach this afternoon against the knuckleballer Sparks. No one trying to do too much. No one's very jumpy at the dish. Everyone's simply trying to hit the ball back to the center of the diamond. Anytime Finley charges the ball in center field, you better get on your horse because he's a terrific thrower and very, very accurate, and that was a good throw. And Munson was on his horse.
Higginson takes a fastball on the inside part of the plate, 0-1. So the Tigers have been able to get to the knuckleballer Sparks. And he's given up as many runs in this ball game already than he has in his last 2 starts.
And one of those starts were against the New York Yankees.
Yeah, not too shabby. A 6-1 win. He gave up just a run, 7 innings of work. And Higginson is caught looking at strike 3 to retire the side. But the Tigers jump out on top. Finley due up third for the D-backs.
Sammy Sosa. Hook my friend Sammy Sosa up with one of those special tacos.
Hey!
Tacos and Pepsi. The perfect double play. It's the cola.
You're watching Fox Sports Net.
It's a beautiful day for baseball and a 2-0 Tigers lead as we go to the third. And a reminder to get 4 upper reserve tickets, hot dogs, and soft drinks, all for just $59. The $59 family value pack is available for all Friday, Saturday, and Sunday home games. Order now. Here's the phone number, 313-471-BALL. It's as simple as that. Mike Maroff has a 2-0 lead to work with now. And he will face the number 9 hitter Andy Green. Then the top of the order, Scott Hairston and Steve Finley. Down the middle it comes, 0-1 on Green, who is 1 for 3 this year. Called up from AAA Tucson on June 10th by the Diamondbacks. With all the injuries they have had, Rana, this is a team that a lot of times you have to look at the names on the roster and say, well, he's got to be new.
Well, you can imagine how their AAA team looks right now because all of their players at the beginning of the season are playing in the big leagues right now.
They're decimated.
Yeah, they're having a tough time in their organization right now.
That's line into right field and a base hit. So Green leads it off with a single.
You know, after the game last night, Mario, I wanted to go downstairs to congratulate Eric Munson on his huge home run, and I had a chance to meet, I mean, the biggest of stars in Muhammad Ali. He was down in the Tigers clubhouse and taking pictures and doing magic tricks and just had a lot of fun yucking it up with the guys, and they had a tremendous time down there last night. He took a jab at Rondell White with his left hand. He is still lightning quick.
Is he really?
Yes, he is. It was fascinating. I mean, it was an honor.
Did you see him put up the 2 fingers behind Infante's head?
He had so much fun down there last night. You know, his son is a baseball player. He's 13 years old. And they just happened to be in Detroit playing in some type of a tournament. And Muhammad Ali shows up at the ballpark, and he's down in the clubhouse.
That's unbelievable.
Oh, huge.
Especially going down there, you're not expecting him to be there.
No. I mean, it was, you know, he was one of the biggest. And, of course, he's just huge. That's all I can say.
Down goes Frazier.
He was the man.
He was
He still is the man.
Scott Hairston, the hitter. No balls and 1 strike the count. That's into center field, and that'll drop in, a base hit. So the Diamondbacks coming right back. Back-to-back singles by Green and Hairston. Tigers have had a tough time getting Hairston out. That's his 4th hit in the series.
You have to throw him something other than fastballs, and in order to do that, you have to get ahead of Hairston so you can expand the strike zone on him with some softer stuff. He can hit a fastball. There ain't no debate about that.
Well, here's Steve Finley now as the Diamondbacks come into the heart of their order. Finley singled in the 1st inning. Two on for the Diamondbacks. Green and Hairston. Finley showing no signs at all of slowing down. Here's a guy that has hit 20 or more home runs in 6 of his last 8 years. We talked about this last night. He's not a big guy. He has never been a weightlifter, but he generates power with a quick bat and is very strong.
Steve Finley is just a very good baseball player, well-rounded baseball player. He can do just about everything above average, and I mean everything.
He can do that as well. He can drop down a bunt on you and beat it out. Still has some pretty good speed. Broke in with the Orioles in 1989 and then was traded to the Astros. And Also spent some time with the San Diego Padres.
And there's a rumor circulating that the San Diego Padres have some interest in reacquiring Steve Finley to play center field for them.
And why not? Shows bunt again. Snap throw to second. They almost got him. Green just got back.
It's a nice job by DeFelice. I mean, as a catcher, you're taught, and I'm sure Lance Parrish has talked to his catchers about this. In a bunting situation, the guy on second base is going to try to get a couple of steps toward that next base. Therefore, if the ball is bunted through, if you throw the ball back down to that respective base, a lot of times you'll catch a guy not able to get back.
Bunted fair, first base side. Pena handles it. Sacrifice works. Finley gives himself up, puts two men in scoring position.
You know, that's one of the things that I just mentioned about Steve Finley. Such a well-rounded baseball player. He can do just about everything. He has clearly been their most valuable player this year. Of course, Big Unit is their most valuable pitcher.
It's a shame we don't get to see him this weekend, isn't it? That's too bad.
Are you speaking for yourselves or them guys down in that dugout?
I know Alan Travels like, you know what, he's fun to watch, but let him pitch somewhere else. Bautista hammers one foul. And you want to face the best, and you want to go up against guys that are considered to be the top in their profession, but Randy Johnson can hand you a tough afternoon.
Tram saw enough of Randy Johnson while he was coaching first base for the San Diego Padres out in the National League West, where he played against the Diamondbacks 19 times. Randy just absolutely dominates the Padres.
Was it 1990 when Johnson threw the no-hitter against the Tigers? Through the perfecto this year.
He has done it all. I mean, he has really had a marvelous career. Big Unit.
Fly ball into left, hit well. White is back to the wall. This one will go. It's a home run. Bautista with a 3-run shot, and just like that, the Diamondbacks have taken the lead. That ball got out in a hurry.
Danny pulled his hands in very nicely on this pitch. It's a breaking ball that stays over the heart of the plate, but it's down, and all he did was drop the barrel of the bat. And when you do that, a lot of times the ball will travel a long, long way. A lot of backspin on that baseball.
So Maroth is given the quick 2-0 lead. The Tigers got a pair in the bottom of the second, and as we always talk about, that next half inning is always critical, but the Diamondbacks get Maroth for 3 here. Munson will give chase on this one, and his sliding attempt falls short. Oh, and 2 on Luis Gonzalez, who is checking the bat to make sure it's not cracked. That's 4 hits now for the Diamondbacks. The Tigers have 6. Well, the numbers for Gonzalez just continue to pile up. He's knocked in over 105 straight seasons. And at least 25 home runs each year in that span. Just got a piece of that one to stay alive.
You know, those consecutive 100 RBI seasons, that run started after he was traded from the Detroit Tigers to the Arizona Diamondbacks. He had hit 23 home runs in 1998 wearing a Tigers uniform, and that's when he started this abbreviated wide open stance that he has right now. He wanted to take advantage of the very short porch at Tiger Stadium. He did that, and he's perfected this swing. He can pull a lot of fastballs on the inside part of the plate because he cheats a little bit with his body.
White is on the run for this one. It's carrying out to left field today, and Rondell runs it down. I didn't think that ball had a chance to get out to the warning track. It wasn't a strong swing by Gonzalez, but it's carrying today.
It gives you an idea of just how strong Luis is and the kind of bat speed that he can generate through the strike zone.
That'll bring up Shea Hillenbrand with 2 out. Broke his bat, rolls it to short. Deep in the hole is Guillen. So the Diamondbacks come back with a 3-run homer. Carlos will lead it off for the Tigers. Danny Bautista's 3-run homer has made it 3-2 in favor of Arizona as we head to the bottom of the third now, and Carlos Guillen will lead things off for the Tigers. What a great day for baseball here at the ballpark. And we'll see if the Tigers can come back now. They certainly did last night. Down by a run. Guillen doubled in the first inning, did not score. High line drive hit toward left, and it is hooking foul. Just a little bit out in front was Guillen. Well, Carlos now among the league leaders in extra base hits.
You know, and the biggest difference between Carlos and the rest of those guys on that list, the other guys are known as serious run producers and have been that throughout their major league careers.
On the ground to third, scooped nicely by Green. One away. That'll bring up Dimitri Young. The one thing about knuckleball pitchers that we have noticed, and when you watch them over the years, if they get on a roll, they can rip off 10, 11, 12 in a row in which they'll set down in order. And then all of a sudden, it'll just leave them. And they have trouble finding the strike zone, so they can be very streaky. 0-1 on Dimitri Young.
It's a pretty big swing right there by Dimitri, and probably a lot bigger than he'd like to take this afternoon against Sparks.
1 ball and 1 strike on Young. Well, we mentioned we would talk to a few more of the 84 stars, and Guillermo Hernandez has decided to join us here in this half inning, and we're certainly pleased to have him with us. And I tell you what, Guillermo, 84, when you think about that ball club, there were a lot of stars certainly on that team, but MVP, Cy Young, that's a year that you probably are never ever going to forget.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. 1984, it was a special year for all the Tigers that year. Especially me. I mean, that was a blissful guy, because have a season like that, I don't think nobody be able to do it again.
Well, that's absolutely true. And boy, when you came on in the 9th inning, it was ball game. I mean, it was absolutely ball game, and you were a whole lot of fun to watch. I
tell you, a lot of people said that they don't want to get involved in that time because I came in. But you know they got a chance. There's a 50-50 chance. But you know, they give me a lot of credit. I threw the ball real well. I was healthy all year round, and I was throwing the ball real well, and they're catching the ball for me.
Dimitri Young has himself an extra base hit. He will motor into second base. And a 1-out double for Dimitri.
You know, Willie, it must be very, very special for you, first and foremost, to come back here and be recognized 20 years later for the World Championship Ball Club, but also see some of your former teammates like Alan managing and Kurt coaching and Lance coaching.
Well, that's great. That's great. That's a great opportunity. You know, if I be in their shoes, I like to be here too, you know, because, you know, this is a prize that you already pay for. And if I one of these days making my mind to come back in Detroit, or somebody give me a chance in the Major League to be a pitching coach, I'll really appreciate that too.
Rondell White puts a charge into this one to deep center field. Finley is back. Dimitri will move up, but there are 2 gone now.
Well, we talk about the mindset of a closer. I mean, it's one of the toughest things to do in baseball. How did you do it so effectively in 1984?
Well, I tell you, I prefer to be lucky than good.
We'll be honest.
Well, I tell you, you know, I believe my career, beloved my career because depression. I like to be under pressure, and you know, every time that came in on the easy game, I got blow out. I got blow out because you know, I was too relaxing. I didn't put the ball where I was supposed to put the ball. But when I came in that kind of situation, I pushed myself, and I gotta say, well, I gotta go inside. And I had to say myself, I gotta go inside. I gotta go inside. And then he said, well, I gotta prepare my screwball for the next pitch. So, you know, all together, just like that. And I believe when I came into the game, it was in a hard situation. And that's why I got great success doing it.
Well, Willie, we appreciate it. You're a big part of that ball club. We know you've got a lot of people to see today. Thank you for stepping out.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right.
Thank you. God bless you.
Guillermo Hernandez, big part of that '84 championship team. The Tigers trail today. Well, we go to the 4th inning now at Comerica Park in a 3-2 ball game. Tigers down by a run. They had a 2-0 lead at one point, but the 3-run homer by Bautista has brought the Diamondbacks back. And Greg Colbran leads it off in the 4th inning. Broke his bat, it looked like, and it's grounded to second. And Colbran is out of there, one away. How about an Aflac trivia question today? Aflac! Here it is. I wonder what it's going to be about. What two 1984 Tigers own World Series records for a 5-game series? 284 Tigers own World Series records for a 5-game series. Ponder that for a while. Answer in the bottom of the 4th. Tim Olson hits.
You know the answer to that, don't you?
I think I know one of them. How about you? You know both of them?
No, I really don't. I think I have a pretty good idea of one, though. That was nice of Willie Hernandez to stop by and join us.
Sure was.
I mean, he was the final piece of that '84 team. He came very, very late in spring training with Dave Bergman from Philadelphia.
Driven in the air to left center field. Craig Monroe is under it. 2 away.
And boy, were those two integral parts of the success of that '84 team.
Well, you know, and he brought up a good point about the defense, because he certainly had a really good defensive ball club behind him, and that certainly helps. But he also brought up an interesting point about the fact that he couldn't really pitch all that well if it wasn't a pressurized save situation.
It's one of the things that we've talked about from time to time, because we have seen guys take the mound. Urbina has done it a couple of times this year, whereas there's been a huge lead and he just has not been very effective. But when the game's on the line, he's been tremendous.
1 ball, 1 strike on Juan Brito. Morath had a 1-2-3 second, gave up the 3-run homer in the 3rd, and now looking for another 1-2-3 inning. Already 11 hits in this ball game, 7 for the home team. The Tigers have gotten to Sparks for 7 hits. (3-1). 3-2 on Brito. He was recalled from Tucson on June 9th. Part of that Sidewinders team that has had to come up to the big leagues to help the big club because of all of the injuries. And it is a rather lengthy injury list for the Diamondbacks. Full count. To the shortstop, Guillen. And another 1-2-3 inning for Mike Moran. Bottom 3rd coming up for the Tigers. Eric Munson due 2nd.
You're watching Fox Sports Net.
Bottom of the 4th inning, 3-2 Diamondbacks here this afternoon. Aflac trivia question again. Here it is. What two 1984 Tigers own World Series records for a 5-game series? Alan Trammell 9 hits and Lou Whitaker scored 6 runs. Here's your answer to the Aflac trivia question as Monroe chases one way out of the strike zone. 0-1.
The dynamic duo. Monroe's a little jumpy up there trying to pull this knuckleball. He has to think about going the other way. Wait a little bit longer.
Popped up. Routine play. Tim Olson. 1 gone.
A little easier said than done, but that's the approach that you want to have against Sparks. Can't try to pull him.
Steve Sparks, 38 years old. He's got a birthday coming up. July the 2nd. He'll be 39 years of age.
He looks awfully good. He's got a young body.
And the fact that he's a knuckleball pitcher probably means he can stick around quite a few more years. Back up the middle and into center field, and Munson has his 2nd hit. Well, Tuesday, July 13th, baseball's best converge in Houston for one spectacular night for the 75th All-Star Game. Don't miss the biggest names in the game battle for their league's right to win home field advantage for this year's World Series. It's the 2004 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. It's live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, and it's Tuesday, July 13th, and it's only on Fox. Here is Mike DeFelice, who knocked in a run back in the second. Munson working off the momentum that he built last night with a long home run. 2 more hits today and a run scored. Eight Tigers hits now already. 1 ball and no strikes. DeFelice hit .286 with the AAA club in Toledo, hit 4 home runs. He is an 8-year veteran of the big leagues. Two and 0. DeFelice sort of became the odd man out in spring camp when Pudge Rodriguez was signed. Inge and DeFelice were going to be the catching tandem, and then Pudge came aboard, and that changed things quite dramatically. Inge had himself a great spring. He's stuck.
I think you brought up a great point when you said Brandon Inge had a great spring, because initially I think the Tigers would have entertained the thought of trading Brandon Inge during the course of spring training had he not emerged as a super utility guy. They felt like he was too valuable, and they kept him and allowed DeFelice to walk.
3-0 fastball is down the middle. 3-1 now on DeFelice. Well, he didn't want to go down to Toledo and accept that assignment, and then decided he would. And here he is back in the big leagues now with the injury to Brandon Inge. Runner goes, grounded toward third. Scooped there by Green. To second, one. Relay to first is in time. That's a heck of a turn down at second by Hairston with the runner barreling in on him. So they'll get the double play, and it'll go 5-4-3. And we played 4 at Comerica. Detroit Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Wallside Windows. Most preferred, most referred. Art Van, the only furniture store with a total satisfaction guarantee. And by Bell Tire. Trust us, we'll make you glad you came in. That's a promise. 84 champs. Celebrating that this weekend here at Comerica Park, in a great ceremony before the game today. Big crowd on hand to see a bunch of the 84 gang come back to town. We're headed to the 5th inning, and Mike Maroth will face Andy Green, the number 9 hitter. He went around. A strike 0-1, and shortly we hope to be joined by Tom Brookins, third baseman for the Tigers. Chat a little bit about his memories. That's back up the middle for Guillen. Green can get down the line a little bit. Almost beat that out. 1 away. Now Maroth has found a groove since that 3-run homer by Bautista in the 3rd. He's retired 6 in a row. And has scattered only 4 hits. Here's Scott Hairston. Hairston has been aboard once, a single and a fly ball. Here's another fly ball into left. Rondell White camping under it. 2 away. Well, earlier today, Rod, we saw that Nate Cornejo was pitching a simulated game. That's good news. He's on his way back.
It's the 3rd time he's had a simulated game, and told me after he did it last time while they were on the road trip, he's starting to feel very, very good, and expects to go down on a rehab assignment before coming back to the Major League club.
And that may not be too far into the future. Now, where he will fit back into this Tigers team remains to be seen. I think Tram has hinted that the bullpen is probably his first start, or his first stop before he is able to start again. And It certainly depends on how he performs.
Well, most of the other 5 guys in the rotation are doing a pretty good job right now, and it's tough to take someone out. And the Tigers would love to try to find a spot for Wilfredo Ledesma, a name from last year who was pitching very well in Double-A. Don't be surprised if he shows up right around the trade deadline of the second half of the season. He's pitching lights out baseball.
Well, it's nice to see the Tigers talking excitedly about some arms that they have in the minor leagues. Kyle Sleeth has pitched well. Ledesma's pitched well.
They're starting to stockpile some arms in the organization. Everyone always wants pitching. And if you got great pitching, you can always make some trades to get what you want.
3-2 on Finley. He checked it, I think. No, he went around. Third base umpire Brian Gorman said he went. Another 1-2-3 inning for Mike Maroff. He has retired 8 straight with his first strikeout of the game. Tigers batting now, bottom of the 5th inning at Comerica Park, 3-2. The Diamondbacks in the lead. Steve Sparks, the former Tiger, back to work, facing the top of the Tigers order: Omar Infante, Bobby Higginson, and then Carlos Guillen. Popped him up down the middle of the infield. The third baseman Green coming over. So both starting pitchers now settling into a groove after some early offense in this one. Here is Higginson, who is 0 for 2 against Sparks. Steve began the season last year with the Tigers and then was released in August and signed a deal with the A's. Went on to pitch in the playoffs briefly with the A's. Appeared in 1 game. One ball and 1 strike on Bobby Higginson, the longest tenured Tiger, 10 seasons in Detroit. That's rifled foul. We've talked about all of the 84 players coming back, and we thought we'd get you caught up on where some of them are these days.
Looks like they've all landed on their feet. Hernandez owns and operates a farm. Of course, Jack Morris analyzes games for the Twins. Dan Petrie, also an analyst here locally. And Dave Rosamond, what a colorful guy he is. He hadn't changed one bit. Rosie's a funny, funny man.
That's hit to first, a fair ball for Hillenbrand. 2 outs.
Tigers haven't gotten a whole lot going this afternoon against Sparks. Therefore, this huge crowd has not been able to get involved in this game. A couple of big hits would ignite this crowd and maybe propel them to victory this afternoon. Wow, a lot of folks up in here.
It's been a huge weekend. 30 better than 32 on Friday, better than 33 last night.
Well, you know, last night after the big home run that Munson hit, probably got a few more people to come back this afternoon.
I would say so. And maybe even a few that hadn't planned to come. And the weather has just been absolutely beautiful. No humidity. Temperature today at game time was 73.
It's just wonderful to see the Tigers fans come back out and support the Tigers.
1 ball and 1 strike on Carlos Guillen. Sparks is hitting one of those strides we talked about. The knuckleballers will get in every now and then, and he's pretty much kept the Tigers at bay here the last 3 innings after Detroit picked up 2 in the second. That one just missed.
That last fastball, 82 miles an hour. It looks like it's about 100 after so many of those floaters coming up there.
Sparks was a conventional pitcher early on in his career with the Milwaukee Brewers, but after struggling a year or so, there's his speed differential, 83 and 68. After struggling a little bit, One of his minor league coaches talked him into trying the knuckleball, and that got him to the big leagues. Whatever it takes. Here's another one of those fastballs. 3-2. Sparks is a guy that you just love to talk to because he has that dry sense of humor and is really a very, very funny guy. DY waiting on deck. Fouled off again. One of my favorite stories about Sparks is when he was with Milwaukee, they handed out a questionnaire to fill out his bio in the media guide and asked him what his hobbies were. And on a lark, he just said, "I love to whistle show tunes." And they actually put it in the media guide. And so people thought that it was legit and would always walk up to Sparks asking him to whistle Oklahoma, for instance. Just the type of guy he is. He's picked up another strikeout, and 1, 2, 3 go the Tigers in the 5th inning. 3 strikeouts for Sparks. Still 3-2 Arizona.
You're watching Fox Sports Net.
3-2 Diamondbacks lead it as we go to the 6th inning. Our next Tigers telecast is Tuesday when they welcome the Cleveland Indians to Comerica Park. Coverage begins at 6:30 with the Mike's Hard Lemonade pregame show. Tigers and Indians Tuesday night on Fox Sports Net. You'll see the best Tigers games all season long. And Tom Brookins has stopped by, part of that '84 team. And Tom, it's a pleasure to see you. And you know, we ask you the same question we ask everybody else. You know, it's nice to kind of get back together with the guys. This has to be an exciting weekend.
It's just been a tremendously fun weekend for me. Just seeing a lot of the old guys. Man, I can't believe how old they got.
What about you, though?
Oh no, I don't ever.
Young, right?
Yeah, I don't get any older. I just say they do.
Leadoff base hit for Danny Bautista. Well, get us caught up. What have you been up to since your Tiger days?
I'm living back in Pennsylvania and trying to raise 3 girls, I guess, was what I was doing.
That's work.
And, staying a little busy in a little construction work, doing a little coaching right now, girls fast pitch softball.
Is that
so
right?
That keeps me pretty busy, and I never really realize how much I don't know about the game. At least that's what they tell me anyway.
You've got 3 gorgeous daughters. I hope you got your shotgun close by.
Well, I keep her loaded to the max if I can, yeah.
Well, are you able to stay connected with a lot of your old teammates? I know sometimes it gets tough when you each go your different ways, but have you been able to do some of that?
I've kept in touch a little bit with Tram and Gibby. We've done some snowmobile trips up in the UP in the winter from time to time. Jack Moore sometimes goes along, but I'll tell you, about 90% of the guys you really never hear from again unless somebody puts together or something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what makes it special for us ex-players, is that almost it takes something like this to get us back together because we don't do it on our own.
You know, Tommy, you had a unique and a special relationship with the manager, Sparky Anderson, and your teammates used to tease you about it all the time. He was really, really fond of you. Talk about your relationship with Sparky for a moment.
Well, Sparky, I think I might have been the first move that he made after he became manager. They brought me up from Evansville in AAA there in '79, and honestly, I think Sparky looked at me a lot like he was as a player, to be honest with you. He was a scrappy guy that maybe didn't have the greatest talent in the world, but he hustled and he did a lot of things to try and help his team any way he could. I think he saw that in me a lot. And of course, it always helps to just keep your mouth shut and do whatever he wants too. But,
absolutely.
But you know, I took pride in hustling all the time and trying to give 100% every day. And I think he saw that in me, and that's what he appreciated. I remember him telling me one time that he called me Thomas a lot. He said, "Thomas, I'm only ever going to ask one thing from you, and that's to give 100%." And I looked at him and I said, "I don't have a problem with that." Mm-hmm. And people used to say, don't you feel like you're overlooked? You're always trying to be replaced. And I never felt that way, honestly. I always thought that he treated me fair. And the reason they were looking for other guys is because I never put numbers up that a good third baseman you should. So I always felt that I played hard for him, and he appreciated it.
RBI single by Shea Hillenbrand has given the Diamondbacks another run. It's a 4-2 ball game now, and the Tigers fall behind by another. Greg Colburn will stand in. We're chatting with Tom Brookins The 84 Tigers ball club, the fine third baseman for the Tigers. Well, he used to call you Thomas Rod. Did Sparky call you Roderick?
No, he did not call me Roderick.
Just checking, just checking. There's a strike called on Greg Colburn. We have some activity in the Tigers pen. Danny Patterson is starting to throw.
Obviously, the World Championship's a very, very fond memory, Thomas.
I prefer Brookie. That goes a little better. Of course, I have been called a lot.
They're finding some holes against Mike Maroth in this, and his second run driven in. He's getting them hit the ground balls, but they're not at the Tigers defenders. What were some of your fond memories in that '84 season?
Well, certainly the start that we had. You wonder, you look back on it and you go, wow, how did that really happen? But it just seemed like every day Lou started the game off, and next thing Tram was on, and Gibby or Darryl drove him in, or Larry Herndon, and bing, bang, boom. That was 3-0, and away we went. And I remember that. Of course, I remember when we clinched it against Milwaukee in the division, and then going on to the playoffs and the World Series. But, you know, it's a long grind, and I remember Toronto wouldn't go away either, and they kept some heat on us. So maybe that kept us on our toes, too.
Well, Tom, the one thing I remember about you growing up here and watching you play is your uniform was always dirty. I mean, that seemed to be the type of player you were.
Well, like I said, I wasn't a big home run hitter or anything like that. I had to scrap my way on base, maybe steal a base here and there, but I always tried to dive for most balls I couldn't even get, I guess. But you always think, you never know. Mike, when you throw the glove open, it might go in.
Here comes Rondell White to play that one on one hop. He has trouble with it, and everybody will move up 90 feet. Olson has a base hit to load the bases, and now the Diamondbacks working on a big inning.
Don't know quite what happened in the outfield with Rondell on that particular play, but Rondell will probably tell you himself that's normally a ball that he catches.
Well, looks like that's going to be it, as Alan Trammell will head out to the mound. And Tom, it's always great to catch up with you. We appreciate you stopping by and sharing some of your memories. Good luck to you and your future endeavors.
Thank you. I've always enjoyed coming back here. The fans treated me just super. It didn't matter whether I was 0 for 30 or 3 for 3. They supported me 100%, and that's all any ball player can ask.
All right, Thomas, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Brookie.
Pitching change in this one as we flash back more memories of Tom Brookins. Diamondbacks lead by 3. Wallside Windows pitching change here at Comerica Park. Mike Maroth is out. He had retired 8 straight before the start of the 6th inning, and the Diamondbacks have put together 5 consecutive hits, and Mike is out after 77 pitches today. He gives up 5 runs, and of course the men on the bases are still his responsibility, so that line is not totally complete. And Danny Patterson now will take over.
You know, Mike hasn't given up 5 runs in a game since giving up 9 to Texas way back on May 8th. He's been awfully good.
Yeah, he has. And
quality start after quality start.
Looked like he had another one going today until this uprising here in the 6th. Patterson misses inside to Juan Brito. Bases loaded, nobody out, and a couple of runs in. Brito in his career is 0 for 2 with the bases loaded. He's 0 for 2 in this game. 1 ball, 1 strike. And all of a sudden the Diamondbacks up on the scoreboard have a total of 9 hits. Patterson trying to put out the fire. He could really use a comebacker here. One ball and 2 strikes now. Brito was hitting over 300 at Tucson before his call up. That was on June 9th. Hillenbrand the runner at 3rd, Colburn at 2nd, and Olson at 1st. Infield in for the Tigers. It's tapped right in front of the plate. It's fair ball. DePolice will hit the bag or the plate there for 1 and throw to the bag at first for the double play. And well, you can't get any better than that.
And it doesn't get much easier than that. Patterson is known as a ground ball pitcher. He's
the reason why the infield's in, but you don't expect this ball to be right at the catcher. DeFelice pounces on this ball from his position from behind the plate, and he made sure he caught the ball in fair territory, which made it a fair ball. Nice call by home plate umpire Dale Scott, and they get the double play. It's a huge couple of outs there.
Well, we'll see if Patterson now can finish him off here. Andy Green will stand in with runners at second and third, and that would be huge if the Diamondbacks have to settle for 2. One ball, no strikes on Green. He is 1 for 2 today. Singled, scored a run back in the third. And is 2 for 5 now in the big leagues this season. Called up on June 10th from Tucson. Tries to lay one down and sends it back to the screen. 1 ball and 1 strike.
It's not a bad play. As a defensive club, you're not looking for a bunt with 2 outs. Greg Colburn, third base runner right now, must have anticipated that because he got a pretty good jump off third.
One and one. Colburn and Olson, the base runners. That's popped up. Pena makes the play, and what a job by Patterson. He comes in and gets a double play in the pop-up. And the Diamondbacks settle for 2. They lead by 3. The Diamondbacks have added a couple more now. It's a 5-2 ball game, and Tuesdays on all the home games here at Comerica Park on Tuesdays are 2 for 1 at Comerica. Buy any upper reserve seat for $12 and get the second seat free every Tuesday all season long. Here's the phone number, 248-25-TIGER. Dimitri swinging on the first, drills into the air toward left field. That ball is hooking and landing foul. Just a little bit out in front of it.
He had home run distance.
It's a long strike. 0-2. 5 in a row set down by Sparks now with the help of the double play back in the 4th inning. Dimitri handing out another souvenir. Young, a double and a ground out. Tigers have been out hit 9-8 in this ball game, and Danny Patterson came on to do a spectacular job. He got the double play, then the pop-up. And the Diamondbacks had to settle for 2, which really helped out Mike Maroth's ERA because all of those runners were his property. He goes the other way, and Dimitri has his second hit of the day. I think before this one is over, the Diamondbacks are going to wish they got more than just 2 in the 6th inning.
You know, Dimitri has the kind of ability to make adjustments within the at-bat, which what makes him a career 300 hitter. First pitch of the AB, hit a foul ball home run down the left field line, then the 2 strikes. Backs off enough to hit a line drive the opposite way.
One on Rondell White, who is 0 for 2, and now Rondell 0 for his last 13.
Well, they'd love to see Rondell White get hot once again. Sparks is doing a nice job of mixing his pitches up, the knuckleball, and then obviously you're going to look for majority knuckleballs, and that's when he'll throw that fastball right down the middle.
Left that one up. Rondell hits it a ton to left. Gonzalez back. It's gone. A home run. Rondell White with a 2-run shot, and the Tigers are down 1. If it's high, let it fly, and that ball was up.
With 2 strikes, Rondell shortened up. He's short, he's quick, he's compact. He pulled his hands in very nicely on this swing. I mean, his body was out in front. We've already talked about that. But he's got those lightning quick hands, and he tomahawked that ball in the left field seats. It's a good feeling and a welcome sight for the Tigers.
Boy, and a welcome sight for Rondell. He was 0 for 13. And that one feels good for White, his 10th of the year.
That's the kind of team that the Tigers have. They can struggle from time to time, and a pitcher can make them look awfully foolish. But they've got enough professional hitters that at some point in time, they're going to make a charge.
What did Bruce Fields call him? A quick strike offense?
Yes, he did.
And, it's appropriate.
Yes. Rondell White, one of the few hitters that drops his hands all the way down to the belt buckle before he decides to generate that tremendous bat speed.
Most guys can't do that, can they?
No, only a few. The late great Bobby Bonds was one that had his hands down very, very low and was very explosive. Andre Dawson could hold his hands down there. Got to be special. Yeah, Sheffield not as low.
No,
not as low, but he has one of the quickest bats of right-handers of all time.
The 1-2. It caught the outside corner. Pena doesn't like it. He doesn't like it at all, and he's letting Dale Scott know about it. I don't know about that one.
Nice job by Brito. I mean, the ball's down, but he pulls it up in a hurry to give Dale Scott a better look.
4 strikeouts now for Pena. For Sparks, the strikeout of Pena was number 4. Monroe has himself a base hit to the gap in left center. It's cut off by Gonzalez. He's going to try for 2. Here comes the throw. Not in time.
It's a great job of coaching by the Tigers. Gonzalez will need Tommy John surgery on his right elbow after this season. Anytime a ball is hit in the left field and you get a chance to advance 90 feet, you have to go. Monroe knows this as soon as this ball is hit. Mick Kelleher, the first base coach, also telling him to go. He never hesitated and made it rather easily. Good base running.
And now Sparks has run into some big-time trouble here in the 6th inning as the Tigers have posted their 11th hit. They have scored 2 runs. And Bob Brenly taking that walk out to the mound. The "I'm going to take you out of the game" walk, it appears. And there's the signal to the pen. Elmer Descends was warming up, and Sparks is done for the afternoon. So we'll step aside. The Diamondbacks go to the pen. They lead it by 1. Diamondbacks lead it by a run, 5-4, as we play in the bottom of the 6th inning. Matt Kenseth has become known as NASCAR's unsung hero, who has managed to silence his critics as the sport's defending champion this week on Beyond the Glory. See how a small-town kid became a NASCAR star. Matt Kenseth, Beyond the Glory, tonight at 8 here on Fox Sports Net. Steve Sparks is done for the afternoon. He is replaced after 90 pitches, 5 1/3 innings. And Elmer Descends is in. He'll face Eric Munson with the tying run at second base. Only 1 out.
A 22nd game this year for Descends, who came over last offseason in a trade that included Eurubio Durazo. You talk to a lot of people that follow this Diamondbacks club on a day-to-day basis. They will tell you that Descends has pitched much better out of the bullpen that he has as a starter for Arizona. Just a little footnote, Mario, to that situation between Descends and Durazo, who now plays for Oakland. Durazo was the best man at Descends' wedding, and then they were both traded for one another the same offseason.
Wow. I did not know that. It's funny how baseball will send you in different ways, and somewhere down the road they'll hook you up again as teammates somewhere. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Descends is 33. He's out of Hermosillo, Mexico.
Now, they acquired him a couple of off seasons ago. They thought that they could slot him in behind Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling. Of course, Schilling no longer with this club, but Descends just hasn't been a very good starter for them.
Didn't miss by much there. 2-2. The Tigers in this series getting back to where we expected them to be, with runners in scoring position on that last road trip The numbers were down.
It's amazing how that goes.
Swung on and missed, and Munson is down. Slams the bat to the ground. Out number 2. 5 strikeouts now for Arizona pitching.
It's an elevated tailing fastball by Elmer.
He threw that same pitch earlier in the at-bat and got Munson to swing at it that time as well. Here's Mike DeFelice. He came up with a 2-out RBI single in the 2nd. How about another 2-out hit here in the 6th? Tigers have shown in this series that they can score some runs, and when they fall behind, they have the ability to come back, and they have Pudge sitting on the bench today. He is out of the lineup.
And there's no doubt that if there's an RBI situation and you don't run the risk of Pudge being walked intentionally, we'll see him.
Without him, they have posted 11 hits today.
Allen had to give him a day off. I mean, he had caught just about every game on the road trip, with the exception of that the second game of that day-night doubleheader last Thursday, excuse me, in Philadelphia. He needed a blow. As much as Allen would love to have him in the lineup, and as much as Pudge would love to play, he has to sit down at some point in time.
Can't go to the well too much. That's how Tram likes to put it. He'll need his day offs every now and then. Tapped back up the middle. Olsen makes the play to retire the side, but the Tigers get a little bit closer. Rondell White swinging the bat. A 2-run shot. 5-4.
You're watching Fox Sports Net.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Comerica. We listen, we understand, we make it work. Well, we hope you had a chance to come on down to the ballpark this weekend, enjoy the festivities. The '84 World Champions being honored this weekend, and Tram and Lou, the greatest double play combination of all time, in my opinion. And a big crowd on hand, a crowd of 32,751 watching the action today and hearkening back to 1984. Here's the top of the order now. Scott Hairston will lead it off. It'll be Hairston, Finley, and then Danny Bautista. So Patterson, who came on to douse the Flames in the 6th, back to work in the 7th. Two 2-0 on Scott Hairston, who singled and scored back in the 3rd.
This is where Scott usually does some damage in a fastball count when he's dialed in looking for a fastball. You better locate it.
Jammed him with it. Munson makes the play, and 1 away. And let's get you caught up on where some of the other '84 heroes are these days. Bill Scher, the lefty out of the pen for the Tigers, scouting for the White Sox. Mill Wilcox is a hitting instructor and a dog trainer in the Detroit area. Dave Bergman is a partner in an investment company. Darrell Evans, living in California. That's going to be it for Patterson. Can't say enough about the job he did here this afternoon. And Jamie Walker will trot in for the
Raj
for the Tigers as Patterson leaves. Danny getting the high fives as Trammell hands the ball off to Walker. Will step aside as the Tigers make the change in a 1-run game. Jamie Walker is on for the Tigers here in the 7th inning, facing Steve Finley with 1 out, nobody on. Danny Patterson did his job, gives up the baseball now to Walker. 1 ball and 1 strike on Finley, who has been on once tonight, a single, a sack, and a strikeout. Over 300 now in the average column for Steve Finley. We're talking about Finley earlier, and his career has taken several different paths with different teams, but his career really took off when he joined the Padres in '96. He had never really hit more than 11 home runs until then in a single season, and he hit 30 his first year in San Diego. He was 2 for 3 against Walker. Swung out and missed. Jamie takes care of him there. 2 out. That was nasty.
It's a nice pitch by Walker against a good hitter in Finley. He's having a very good season, but he starts that big breaking ball, takes a little bit off of that Finley out in front. Quality pitch by the lefty.
Now Bautista. Big day today for him. 3-run homer in the 3rd, single and a run scored in the 6th. Eleven Tigers hits, 9 for the Diamondbacks. 1-1. Bautista's best year had to be that 2000 campaign. He split time with the Marlins and the Diamondbacks. Hit .285 that year with 11 home runs. He's on his way to a much better year this year. Hit to the shortstop. Guillen has been busy today. And the Diamondbacks will go down 1-2-3 here in the 7th inning. As the Tigers bullpen again is shining here this afternoon in what has turned into a tight ball game in the series finale. Well, on a beautiful Sunday here, let's join Scotty Williams now and listen into his rendition of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans lined with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. America, my home sweet home.
Tigers as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Omar Infante to be followed by Higginson and then Guillen. 1-run game. Diamondbacks lead it by the slimmest of margins. Infante has a couple of hits today plus an RBI. And descends, misses outside. 1-1.
You know, I'd like to see Omar incorporate the bunt into his repertoire as far as offense is concerned. Very seldom does he bunt for base hits. He has the kind of speed to do it. And he's got a lot of room down at third base.
Yeah, he can drive the ball, but I agree with you. I think he certainly has enough speed to start mixing one in every now and then.
Situation where you're trailing by 1 very, very late in the game. You're running out of outs. You know, you try to get on base any way that you can.
There's a strike call. Got him looking.
It's a bad call. It's not a strike. That ball's down in the strike zone. It's not a good call. No, it's not a strike.
Mr. Scott disagrees. I think I'm with you. I didn't think that caught much of the plate.
Well, we have an opportunity to see a replay. Once he sees one, I don't think he'll like it.
Infante is out of there. Second strikeout for descends, and here is Higginson. Bobby 0 for 3. Hit hard down the right field line. It is fair. It'll go to the corner. Higginson on his way to second base. Bautista has a cannon, but his throw is late. And the Tigers have the tying run out at second with 1 out. Higginson doubles, and the Tigers have their 12th hit of the game.
Bobby gets a fastball right down the middle, and he put a real good swing on it. I mean, everything was lined up there. Good balance in the legs, nice hip rotation. Of course, when you have all those other things going for you with the lower half of your body, that quickens your hands up, and he got him through the zone in a hurry.
It'll bring up Carlos Guillen now, the chance to tie it up. Carlos 1 for 3.
He turns back around to the left side now.
Facing the knuckleballer Sparks, he was hitting the other way. The double by Guillen was back in the first inning. Guillen 5th in the American League in runs scored with 52. Snap throw to second, but Higginson gets back in safely.
It's a nice job by DeCenz, especially for guys trying to get too big a lead out at second base. You snap throw back there, and you try to inch him back toward that bag, which would make it a little tougher for him to score on a base hit in the outfield.
Ball hit well into right field. Bautista back, still going off the wall. This will score a run. Here comes Higginson rounding third. The throw to second, not in time. Back-to-back doubles. Higginson and Guillen, and we're tied up. And the Tigers offense comes alive again today.
This boy could just hit, whether you're hitting from the right side or the left side. He gets himself in a good hitter's count, good balance, smooth swing. Wow, has he looked good all season long. That was a pretty swing by Guillen.
Higgy read it well, and he scored easily. The throw went back into second base. And now the Tigers can go ahead. Dimitri Young will stand in. He has 2 hits today. No sail foul. No balls and 1 strike on Young. Tigers were down 5-2 again here today, and they come back. And again, that 6th inning when the Diamondbacks had them loaded, had to settle for 2 runs. It turns out to be huge. The job by Patterson, very big today. Oh, and 2.
Extra base hits in the American League. Carlos Guillen, 38 in the top 5.
Well, he is in the top 5 or top 10 in a lot of categories that I don't think too many people thought he would be at this point this year.
It was nice to see the ball club lock him up for the next 3 years. Guillen will be in a Tigers uniform through the year 2007.
6 more extra base hits today for the Tigers. That man is happy.
Absolutely.
Oh, and 2 on Young. Way up high. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
That's a good pitch by DeCenz. It's something that we talk about from time to time. And no balls and 2 strikes. Go ahead and change the eye level of that hitter. Get him looking up in the zone, and you come back with what really you're thinking about is the pitch you want to get him out with.
Swung on and missed, and Dimitri chased one out of the strike zone. He came in with a high heat. 3rd strikeout now for DeCenz. Just reached back through that one right by him.
He's been throwing harder as a reliever. Talking to Bob Brenly in his office before the game yesterday, he said that DeCens no longer has to hold back, no longer has to pace himself to get through 5-6 innings. He's only going to pitch 1 or 2 innings, so he just goes right after the opposition.
Rondell White had a 2-run homer back in the 6th inning that started the Tigers' comeback. They were down 5-2 at that point. White's 10th of the year. "13 Tigers hits in this game. Here's that 2-run shot back in the 6th.
Boy, his hands are quick.
He can't leave it up there, can he?
Oh, his hands are quick. He's got some quick hands.
He just snaps it out of the ballpark.
Wow, this is unusual. Very seldom when you see a right-hander walk a right-handed batter to get to a left-hander, unless Bob Brenly's going to go to his bullpen and bring in the left-handed pitcher.
First base is open. They want no part of Rondell with a 2-0 count.
That's exactly what he's going to do. He feels comfortable with Randy Choate going up against Carlos Pena.
So Brenly makes his way out to the mound. Pena due next. And the pitching change here at Comerica. We'll step aside again. 5-5 game. All tied at 5. Tigers batting in the bottom of the 7th. And don't forget, Tigers fans, Game Day Audio lets you listen live to every Tigers game online. Sign up today at DetroitTigers.com, where baseball is always on. New pitcher is on now as well. Randy Choate is out of the bullpen for the D-backs.
He's that left-handed specialist out of Bob Brenly's pen. As you see, this is his 43rd game that he's going to appear in, and he's only logged 25 innings. So his specialty is coming in and trying to get left-handers out. Left-handed batters this year hitting .235 against Randy Choate.
Here are the splits on Pena. 17 RBIs against left-handed pitching. And that's lined to first on one hop, and Hillenbrand will flip to the pitcher covering for the out to retire the side. So the Tigers will settle for 1 run, but it's a big run. They tie it up. We'll go to the 8th. 5-5. 5-5 ball game as we go to the 8th inning now at Comerica Park. And here's our game summary today. Danny Bautista put the Diamondbacks on the board in the 3rd. It was a 2-run shot to make it 3-2 in favor of Arizona at that point. Tigers had a long ball of their own in the 6th inning. Rondell White goes deep. That brought the Tigers to within 1. It was a 5-4 ball game. And then in the 7th inning, Carlos Guillen doubles in Bobby Higginson, tying the game at 5 apiece. And Jamie Walker back to the hill facing Gonzalez here in the 8th. Gonzalez, Hillenbrand, and Colbran for Arizona. 2 balls and no strikes, and Luis double and a walk today. That's low. 3-0. Gonzalez just hasn't seen too many good pitches to hit in this series. And Walker drops one in right at the knees. 3-1.
Well, as good as Gonzalez is, the last thing that you want to do here if you're Walker is walk him. Not in a close ball game, not this late. You got to make him hit the ball.
3-2.
That gives you an idea right there that Luis is struggling just a little bit. At 3-1, he's jumping at a fastball, and Walker's a guy that's not overpowering. Therefore, Gonzalez, with the kind of bat speed that he can generate, no need to try to cheat to get out there early against the left-hander.
Swing and a miss, and Walker comes back nicely with a strikeout.
Well, let's take a look at our bell tire pitch by pitch to Luis Gonzalez and how Walker attacked him. He wanted to see if he would go out of the strike zone first and foremost, and Luis did a very nice job of getting himself in a very good hitter's count. Now the 3-1 pitch is one that he should not have swung at if he's not going to swing fully. And he comes back with another fastball and he's able to blow it right by him.
Second strikeout of the game now for Walker. He's retired all 3 that he has faced. Shea Hillenbrand, the hitter. Hillenbrand was part of that inning that knocked Mike Maroth, the starter, out of the game. That was the 6th. As the Diamondbacks strung together 5 consecutive hits. And Danny Patterson had to come on. Couldn't pull the trigger, and down he goes. Hillenbrand is out of there.
Took Dale Scott a long time before he pulled the trigger on his 3rd strike.
He did pull the trigger, though. That'll leave it up to Greg Colburn. Walker has been impressive. 3 of the 4 batters he has faced, he has fanned. The one thing about the Tigers' pen in this series, they have really answered the bell. They have pitched well in the first 2 games, and they have been lights out here so far today. Danny Patterson was outstanding. Tigers Brain Trust talking it over on their bench. Out in front, 0-2.
You know, Walker's a guy that doesn't throw a whole lot of changeups, but he's feeling a good one today. He's thrown a few already. That's pretty good action with it.
Colburn wouldn't change that one or chase that one. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. RBI single today for Greg Colburn in 3 at-bats. That's drilled in the air, but hooking. And back out of play. Tigers have some activity in their bullpen. The big right-hander is throwing, and that is Franklin Herman. There's Franklin. After putting up great numbers at AAA, back with the big club. Hit to 3rd. Munson to his left. Jamie Walker has a 1-2-3 inning. 5 up, 5 down against the Tigers lefty today. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th.
Guys.
You're watching Fox Sports Net.
Here come the Tigers now in the bottom of the 8th. It is a 5-5 ball game this afternoon. And the Tigers have out-hit the Diamondbacks 13-9 in front of a big crowd today. And Craig Monroe will lead it off against Randy Choate here in the 8th. Monroe, Munson, and DeFelice. Monroe has himself a double, a 2-base hit back in the 6th inning. One ball and 1 strike. First meeting between these two, at least in a big league game. 2-1.
Monroe should get a real good pitch to hit right here. And if you're Craig, you have to sit on something. And if it's a fastball, make sure you don't swing at the breaking ball.
It's 3-1 now, and one more bad one, and the Tigers will get the go-ahead runner on.
And they desperately need some base runners.
It's been a frustrating series for Bob Brenly and his team. They've had a couple of big leads the last 2 days. There is ball 4, and Monroe is on. So the Tigers get the leadoff man aboard, the go-ahead run. Let's check out our Comerica game summary. Mike Maroth lasted 5 today, gave up 5 earned runs. Steve Sparks, 5 1/3 for the Diamondbacks. Bautista has homered. Rondell White is homered. How about the Tigers bullpen in this series? Can't get a whole lot better than that.
This could be one of those situations where Eric Munson's called upon or asked to sacrifice bunt. Does not have one this year. But Allen would love to see Monroe down to second base in scoring position.
And Munson unable to make contact, 0-1.
And unfortunately, when a guy doesn't bunt that often or has not been called upon to do it, a lot of times they just don't look that comfortable doing it.
Well, this situation certainly calls for it.
Well, they're not really crowding him, so he's got plenty of room. There's no need to panic. Just take your time and get it down the first baseline. And the reason I say bunt the ball down toward first base is Hillenbrand has a responsibility of holding on Craig Monroe. He cannot vacate his position too soon.
Choate again goes back to first base.
Andy Green, however, on the other side of the infield at third base. He can cheat as much as he wants to put some pressure on Eric Munson, and I'm surprised he's not charging a little bit harder, unless he's not convicted that Eric's going to try to bunt again.
Well, not likely to be bunting here on 0-2 unless they give him another chance, but he didn't look too comfortable in his first 2 attempts. Munson giving a good long look down at third. Juan Samuel flashing the signals, and only 1 sacrifice in his career, so this is not something that Munson is called upon to do very often. Choate has that little sling sidearm throw to first base. That'll keep Hillenbrand on his toes. Eric staying alive.
Choate got away with one there. Eric knows it. 0-2 hanging breaking ball.
Choate used to pitch with the Yankees. He was acquired in an off-season deal on March 27th from Montreal, and they got Munson to go chasing a bad pitch. If you're Choate, it was a pretty good pitch, 1 away. So again, you see the inability to lay the bunt down, and that helps out Choate. Here comes Bob Brenly again, with DeFelice due up. They're going to want the right-hander out of the bullpen, it appears, and Brenly will take the baseball from Choate. And another pitching change. We again step aside, back of the bullpen, go the D-backs. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Pepsi. It's the Cola. Chevrolet, turn a key and start a revolution at your Detroit area Chevy dealer. And by Comerica, we listen, we understand, we make it work. Big time party here at the ballpark beforehand with the 1984 World Series heroes making their return to Comerica Park. Had a lot of the festivities before the game today. Alan Trammell spoke, as did several other former Tigers. Darrell Evans, and of course the voice of the Tigers, Ernie Harwell, as well.
Boy, does he speak with eloquence.
He does.
He went out there and spoke for 15 minutes and didn't read one thing.
No, he didn't. That was the impressive thing.
Golly,
no notes.
None.
Brandon Villafuerte is on now for Arizona, and here are his numbers.
He served up that big one last night to Eric Munson, the straightaway center field. 12th game for Villafuerte. He's pitched well for them.
He was the one that was tagged by Munson last night in the 9th inning, the walk-off home run. Throw down to second, runner on the move, and Monroe is gone by a wide margin. Easy throw for Brito. Little pitch and catch. And Monroe is out of there. 2 gone.
Don't know that much about Brito, but he did his best. Pudge Rodriguez interpretation here, impression. I mean, he just fires a seed down to second base. I mean, Monroe doesn't run that well and doesn't attempt to steal that many bases. They thought maybe they could catch the Diamondbacks off guard, but they didn't.
Evidently not.
Wow.
That throw was right on the money.
And it had some velocity to it as well.
Swung on and drilled, but foul. And DeFelice got the pitch he wanted just a little bit early.
You know, that's one of those pitches where it's 2 balls and there's no strikes, and the guy throws 93. And you're thinking about swinging before he even delivers the ball.
He just missed that one. Just a second later. 2-1. Three and 1 now on DeFelice. Like in his first game from AAA Toledo, has an RBI single. He's 1 for 3. Top of the order waiting on deck in Fonte. That's popped up. Well, the right fielder Bautista will call off Hairston, and that'll take care of the side. So the Tigers are done, and we'll go to the ninth. 7-8-9 coming up.
Let's get out of here. Catch that Tigers game over at Ed. Let's go. Nah, you guys go ahead. I'm not really up on baseball. All right. See you tomorrow. See you later.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Detroit Tigers and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Detroit Tigers.
Well, the Tigers now find themselves in a 5-5 game as we go to the 9th inning. Jamie Walker is still out there. He came out in the 7th, got 2 outs, pitched in the 8th, got him 1, 2, 3, and he's been on a roll. Tim Olson will lead it off, and this is the first time these two have squared off. Olson, Brito, and Green due up. Oh, 0-1 on Tim Olson. Seventh round pick of the Diamondbacks back in 2000. Played some college ball at the University of Florida.
You know, one thing the Diamondbacks have done the last 3 years or so as far as their drafts are concerned in June, they've drafted very heavily the college athlete.
Swung on and missed.
Which has really helped them. I mean, could you imagine had they gone the high school route and have had as many injuries as they've had, they would have a very, very young team up here trying to play at this level.
That's hit to third. Munson plays the ball but flattened out on it. 1 away. Well, there's always that debate that you have every June draft. Do you go for the college players, guys that are ready to get to the big leagues a lot quicker?
Less risk.
Less risk, much less risk. But there seems to be a lot of reward as well if you can latch onto that high school kid that has the high ceiling, as they say. Brito takes a strike. Jamie Walker is just getting the baseball and throwing strikes. He's retired 6 in a row now. In the air to center field. Monroe is back. 2 gone. Make it 7 in a row. Boy, has the pen come up big in this series. Close games the first 2 nights. 1-run games. Now a tie game here today. It's got to make Tram happy, especially with the struggles his bullpen has had this year. Strike called on Andy Green. Tigers were 3-12 in 1-run games coming into the series. That's in the air to right. Routine for Bobby Higginson. Down they go, 1, 2, 3, 8 straight set down by Walker. The Tigers have the top of the order coming up. Bottom of the 9th inning at Comerica in a 5-5 ball game, and a reminder to celebrate summer every Friday and Saturday night home game at Comerica Park with Tigers baseball and a fabulous fireworks show. It's twice the fun all summer long. For tickets, call 248-25-TIGER. Well, a big crowd on hand here today. Better than 32,000 fans hoping for another last at bat win for the Tigers. As 84 weekend comes to a close and we wind it down, Omar Infante leads it off against Brandon Villafuerte. It'll be Infante, Higginson, and Guillen.
It's been a nice situation here. Bottom half of the 9th inning, you got your leadoff hitter. Make him throw you a strike if you're Omar.
1-1. Infante is 2 out of 4, couple of singles and RBI. Took over the leadoff spot today from Alex Sanchez, who's out with the strained hamstring. 1-2. Villafuerte is trying to avoid taking a loss in the last inning on consecutive days. Little looper into left center field. That ball is down, a base hit. He's going to try for 2. Here comes a throw, not in time. Gonzalez gave it up to Finley. His throw is a little bit late, and a leadoff double for Infante. That's the way to start it. He was running hard all the way.
Well, anytime the ball hit the left field, we've well documented it in this series. Gonzalez not throwing very well. Therefore, he shuffles the ball to Steve Finley. They've already talked about this. Steve Finley has a much stronger arm, but Infante, because he was running hard out of the batter's box, able to get to second base with a leadoff double.
And so Villafuerte will depart the scene now. And the Diamondbacks go right back to the bullpen.
You know, Mario, we've been talking a lot about several members that were very, very valuable to that '84 championship team 20 years ago. One guy that is valuable to the organization, Bill Brown. He wasn't on the field today with us, but he's in his 41st year with the organization. He's a traveling secretary. He's been with the organization since 1979. And Brother Brown, believe it or not, you and I sit right next to him on the plains. He's 60 years old, and he looks outstanding.
He's in better shape than you and me, it looks like.
Wait. Speak for yourself.
Well,
now.
Okay.
Right.
He's in good shape, though.
No, but I had to mention Brother Brown because he
did.
takes great care of us. I mean, he gets all the flights for the families and gets us to and from where we need to go. So he's a very, very valuable member of that '84 team as well.
Is that the toughest job in baseball? It could be.
Absolutely.
I mean,
you got 25 egos and you got 25 guys that like to be on certain floors and they don't like to be next to this person and that person, and it's amazing. But he's wonderful at what he does, and he took good care of myself and those gentlemen right there, and he's taking care of these 2004 Tigers as well.
Well, here's just some of the video from earlier today. Roger Craig there on your left, and Barbaro Garbe was there, and so were most of the '84 Tigers. Johnny Grubb in the middle. There's Willie Hernandez and Chet Lemon.
Chet the Jet.
Had him on in the telecast last night. What a joy it was to talk to him. And of course, Willie was on with us today. Willie Hernandez, Dan Petrie.
And maybe these 2004 can find a little bit more magic here tonight.
Willie Horton had an opportunity to speak and address the crowd before the game today. Great ceremony here at Comerica. Now, can we cap it off with a win? Mike Koplov is in now for Arizona.
And Mike Koplov has a decent fastball in the lower 90s. 40th game he's been on. He's their closer right now with the injuries to Manti and Jose Valverde. He's going to give you something off speed. If you're Bobby Higginson, you don't mind that. You want to get something out in front. You want to hit the ball to the right side of the infield here.
1 ball and no strikes on Higginson. Bobby is 1 out of 4 today with a double.
Anything on this direction, or out in the outfield will get Infante over to third base or score him, which is what Bobby Higginson's up there to do right now. Ooh.
1 ball and 1 strike.
It's tough when you haven't seen a guy. And most hitters will tell you that the matchup favors the pitcher. When you haven't seen a guy, you don't necessarily know exactly the movement of his ball, nor do you know the velocity that he features. Really have to bear down and concentrate here.
Two and 1. Well, we need one here indeed. 4 for 12 with men in scoring position today. And Infante has let it off with a double in the 9th. Tigers going for the sweep. Right off the mask to the catcher Brito. 2 and 2. That is bell rung. Look at this. A couple of natives of Philadelphia squaring off against each other here. Bobby Higginson and Mike Koplow. High fly ball into right field. Bautista setting up under it. Infante tagging. Catch is made. Infante headed to third, and the throw is wide. And Higginson gets the job done.
You know, here's a very, very tough situation now for Bob Brenly. You've got Guillen coming to the plate. More than likely they'll walk him. And then if they walk him, they'll walk Dimitri Young as well. But you got Pudge Rodriguez, who's looming. He's somewhere over there. You're not going to pinch hit for Rondell White, but you could pinch hit for Pena. It's going to be interesting how this all plays out. Because no doubt Bob Brenly's thinking about Pudge Rodriguez right now.
And you will see many managers in this situation just walk the next 2 hitters to load the bases.
Well, if they don't walk the bases loaded, it's because of the Pudge factor.
And now Guillen will get the intentional pass.
What we could see here, Bob Brenly may feel like the best opportunity or the best chance for his ball club to get out of this jam that Villafuerte's in, is to walk Guillen and then take your middle infielders and you play them at double play depth, and you hope to get the ground ball from Dimitri.
Young waiting on deck, 3-0 on Guillen, and he'll get the intentional walk. So runners at first and third. Now we'll see what the decision is from Bob Brenly. Do they pitch to Young or do they walk him as well? Rondell White on deck and Pudge right now on the bench.
No sign of him coming in this game either.
That'd be close.
It may be one of those days where, you know what, Pudge, you just have got the total day off, period.
Well, I can't imagine, though, that with the game on the line, they would not utilize him if the occasion arose. And it looks like Dimitri's going to get walked too, so they will load the bases. That's going to put Tigers on every base.
You know, something that we don't see that often anymore, Mario, and you see it with some of your veteran managers. A Bobby Cox would do it. A Tony La Russa would do something. Of course, Sparky Anderson would do it. That would be to bring in an extra infielder, one of the guys from the outfield, and hope to get that ground ball that would also help you get out of this inning.
It's an awfully risky move if you do use it, and Bob Brenly will not employ that strategy. He's going to keep the 3 outfielders. They're all the way in, though. So is the infield. Tigers trying to win it here in the 9th inning. Infante, the winning run at third base. Guillen and Young have been walked intentionally. And Rondell trying to put this one in the win column. They're in all the way around on the infield and the outfield. And a strike called on White. The best possible scenario right now for the Diamondbacks would be a ball hit right back to the mound. Little tapper hit slowly down the third base line, but foul. Koplov came off of that mound quickly to make sure it stayed foul.
Hey, Koplov's a pretty good fielder, pretty good athlete. Well, if you're Rondell, what you've got to do in this situation is you got to spread out just a little bit. You may want to choke up just a hair, and you want to make sure you put this ball in play somewhere. He's tough to double. They're not playing double play depth, but you really want to put it in play. He's got great numbers this year with runners in scoring position.
Oh, and 2 on White. He tried to check it, but he went around. Strike 3. And that's a big out for Koplov. 2 gone. Rondell unable to hold it up, but now the defense can relax. They'll play normal depth, and it'll take a 2-out hit, perhaps from Carlos Pena, to win this one. I'm not going to be picky. I'll take a wild pitch. Carlos 1 for 4. One and 0. And it always does make you think, though, as Pudge still has the jacket on, when you do walk the bases loaded, you are counting on your pitcher to throw strikes. And there's some added pressure in that.
If you're Pena, you got to be looking for one pitch in one zone. If you get that one particular pitch you're looking for, let it all hang out.
1-1.
Back-to-back changeups by Koplov, and his changeup is elevated and has a little tailing action away from the left-handed batter.
Tigers trying to win it in the 9th. They got a leadoff double from Infante. Swung on and missed by Pena. 1-2. Bouncing ball foul at first base. Carlos with a tremendous opportunity here this afternoon to deliver a game-winning hit. Perhaps get him some confidence back. It has been a struggle offensively for the most part, although he has driven in 39 runs this year. When you look at the batting average, it just doesn't sync up with the RBIs. That is high. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Everything that Koplov has thrown to Pena has been off speed. At some point in time, he's going to throw him a fastball, and if you're Pena, you have to be ready for it. No matter how many slow pitches he's thrown you, with 2 outs, the fastball and seeing the ball has to be on your mind right now, not what pitch you're going to get.
The crowd getting into it here in the 9th inning. Fought that one off. Two and 2 on Carlos Pena. The Tigers bench hoping for another last at bat win. Koplov replaced Villafuerte, who started the inning, by giving up the double to Infante. "14 Tigers hits in this one. They could use number 15 right here." Swung on and belted. Deep into right field. Bautista is back to the wall. It is gone. It's a grand slam home run for Carlos Pena. Unbelievable. Another last at-bat win for the Tigers. Pena hits a slam. Wow. Back-to-back celebrations at home plate. It had just enough to get out. And our Chevy player of the game, Carlos Pena, with a grand slam in the bottom of the ninth.
Let's take a look at our pitch by pitch. Villafuerte takes another very, very difficult loss. Pena did a nice job of getting himself in a very good hitter's count. All off-speed pitches, tailing fastballs. Finally gets to 3-2, fouls off one before getting the big one, and the ball just gets over the gate in right field. Great effort by Bautista, but he can't get there. How about these cardiac kids?
Unbelievable, and you got to believe the bench equally excited for Pena today as they were for Munson last night.
No one happier than Rondell White, who struck out for the second out of the inning with a man on third. That's a huge, huge pick-me-up from Carlos Pena for Rondell White and the rest of his ball club.
Second career grand slam for Carlos Pena. This one a game winner. And what a day at Comerica Park. Smiles all the way around. We'll be back in just a moment. 9-5 the final score as the Tigers win it over the Diamondbacks. They sweep the series. They do it again in cardiac fashion. We go down to the field where Carlos Pena is standing by. We asked this of Eric Munson last night, Carlos. What is it like to do something like that? You may have gone one better with a grand slam.
That's incredible. I mean, just to get the win like that is it's great. I'm very excited. You know, we're playing hard all game, and finally we come out with a win.
You know, Carlos, I mean, of course, it's a 20-year reunion. The last world championship team for the Tigers. You had a chance to see all your teammates celebrating, and your coaches now celebrating that historic 20 years ago. How does it you get these two together?
Well, you know, can't compare those 84 Tigers. They were amazing, you know, but I mean, we're trying to hang in there, you know, and we want to bring Detroit a playoff, at least go to the playoffs. You know, we're trying to do the best we can. But, you know, we're getting better every day, and you know, it's a special day, you know, 84 Tigers, and we come out with this win. It's amazing.
Carlos, talk about the pitch you hit out. It seemed like Koplov was giving you a lot of off-speed stuff early, and what did you hit out?
You know, I have no idea what I hit. I know he was throwing a lot of change-ups to me, and I was just fouling him off, and I think, I don't know if I hit a change-up or I just know I hit a baseball, you know, and I went over the fence, and we won, you know. It's one of those things.
I know your heart is racing right now, but for you personally this year, your batting average is down. I know you've been frustrated, but in the end, you continue to drive in runs. You've got 43 RBIs now, and that's something to hang your hat on.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I just want to contribute as much as I possibly can. Obviously, I'm not having the season that I want to be having, but, you know, I'm going to be working hard no matter what. You know, I'm still young, and I'm still trying to get better. So that's all I can do, prepare as well as I possibly can, and then come out and play the game.
Carlos, I'm sure you've got the welcoming committee waiting in the locker room. Enjoy this one. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Carlos Pena, what more can you say? I tell you what, the last two nights here, Rod, have been as exciting as we have had here at Comerica Park in a long, long time.
You know, we had a chance to watch a lot of losses last year, of course, 119, but it has been fun this year. It really has, with the new additions to the ball club, the way the offense has played all season long, the way the pitching has come together here in this homestand. They're now a game over 500. This is truly a fun team to watch. They've got some good players, and it's going to be a fun summer here at Comerica and on the road.
What a way to cap what has been really an exciting weekend here at Comerica Park. The 20th anniversary of the '84 championship team, and Carlos Pena put an exclamation point on it here today at Comerica Park. Tigers win it by a score of 9-5, and we'll be back to wrap things up from Comerica Park right after these messages. Big win for the Tigers.